Welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, how are you doing today, man? How everybody is doing today? Hadn't been on here for a while. Been traveling a little bit and been sitting around, thinking about, two things, as we start getting people to come into the chat. Welcome into the chat. Welcome coming in. Welcome people coming in and watching the show. Just want to say hello. Glad y'all coming on in. We're gonna touch the bases on a couple of things today. Not too much of anything right now. Want to talk about certain things. As you see, my topic is DC Parker's 3-4 defense. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, and also we're going to talk about some of the stuff I got upcoming. Got a show I've got coming with off a little bit off the Cowboys talk into the direction of NIL, and we're just gonna have a discussion about my feelings, and a co-host of a person with me. We're gonna just talk about how we feel about the NIL, the transfer portal, and just trying to learn a lot about that, and give our feelings of what direction that's taking college football into, as well as high school football. And is it taking sports into a good position, or as when later on we'll see if it's taking it advantage. So we're gonna be doing a show on that on tomorrow. But today I wanted to come in. A lot of stuff I don't come in on. You don't see me as much because, to be frankly, everybody out there, right now you just got a bunch of rumors. Right now you just got a bunch of gossip going around where most of the stories that's coming out are people that are making up stories for you to be entertained. All these things you hear, rumored Cowboy trades and trade scenario, you got people sitting behind a desk or somewhere saying, "What about this scenario?" to get you in talking points. Usually, major trades. If I think one of the main major trades that everybody's talking about is the Max Crosby trade. Usually, if it's a major trade like this, there is that much. It's not that much talk. What happens is, in most major trades, it happens. Hello, Jen. It happens. Nobody sees it coming. Next thing you know, the trade is done. It's not going to be one of those things that everybody's going to talk about this, and it's going to be talked about to nauseum, and then all of a sudden it's going to happen. We're not going to talk them into a trade. If anything, if we talk about it as much Cowboy fans, we ain't doing but pushing the price up. And there is no trade out there that's worth any price. There's not enough football players out there that we have that we talk about upcoming free agency is at no cost. I hear people trying on both sides about why you should make a trade, why you shouldn't make a trade, why you should keep picking, why you should pick. And I think a lot of it is, we get to a point we over exaggerate. We get to a point where we overlook certain things. Right now, this team is trying to get their new defensive coaching staff, and they're trying to find the direction they're going to go defensively, and they're evaluating what they got in the building. And I think there's no way in the world Coach Parker has not evaluated the Dallas Cowboys defense and their personnel. He talked about a little bit in his press conference. And he mentioned one area, and then everybody started jumping on that area when he talked about how important a slot corner is. You know, have I heard some people talking about the 3-4 because he said that there'll be 3-4, there'll be multiple. Well, you can be a lot more multiple out of a 3-4 as well as you can. A 3-4 can look like a 4-3 in certain times, but a 3-4 uh, is probably what is where he wants to be at. And there's some interesting points y'all need to know about 3-4 defense. I know a lot of people talking about linebackers are so important in a 3-4. They are. Linebackers they are important. They're more now. Linebackers is a little bit less responsive than what they were in a 4-3. Now let me explain that. The field is cut in half with a 3-4. One linebacker for, and so more time when you go into 4-3, you got a guy here. Sometimes that guy rolls up. He got that one middle linebacker got more ground to cover. Second thing in this, and I think y'all need to understand this, and y'all need to understand this well. I really want y'all to understand this. I've been telling you this for all since last year, and I'm gonna tell you again. If we are in a 3-4 defense, interchangeable, dominating safeties is what's gonna make this defense pop. When you think about great safeties, most of them played in a 3-4 setting. When I think about a 3-4 defense, I think about some of the better 3-4 defenses in the history. Pittsburgh ran 3-4, offense safeties. Palomalo dominated in a 3-4 set. I think the guy that's on TV right now, that's commentating, I forget his name. Anybody in the chat knows his name. The 3-4 set. The Baltimore Ravens ran a 3-4 set. Sometimes you have linebackers that dominate so much that we forget about the safeties. But the safeties are they have to be interchangeable, and they got to be dogs. If you really think about it, the Legion of Boom ran of somewhat of a 3-4 set. I know that we had Coach Parker talked about uh, slot corner. Everybody went crazy about slot corner. Yes, slot corner is definitely is now slot corner is uh, where teams go now when they say nickel. But slot being in nickel doesn't mean you lacking on the run. And if you looked at our defense last year, we got hurt by run support from our corners and probably our safeties. But we did get when teams did run against us and did get yards, they ran back to our backside to our run support. And our backside cornerbacks who was run support never did run support. They were back there, but they didn't attack the football. It's on film. But if you got that guy that's a hybrid, as Coach Parker said, I'm gonna give y'all some other tidbits. When I always come back with history because a lot of y'all don't know the Cowboys history because y'all start saying it's old school, but history repeats itself. Let's talk about history. Cowboys was one of the first teams in the '90s that run the three the 3 safety set. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Yeah, I'm talking about the coach. Yeah, that's what we talk about now. The vision of the defense, about the 3-4 defense. Cowboys was one of the first teams that ran, even though they was in a 4-3, but they ran three safeties. When they won their first Super Bowl, they had Thomas Everett, which they got from Pittsburgh in the trade, was a very physical guy. You had James Washington, and you had Darren Woodson. They actually played with 3 safeties, but Darren Woodson was what? A hybrid. What Coach Parker talked about yesterday, which a couple of days ago, it was crazy to me. And this is why, going back, I want to touch bases on this. This is why Darren Woodson should be in the Hall of Fame. Coach Parker touched on a slot corner that he said have to play safety, be able to cover people, be able to be a part safety, have to be part linebacker, and play the run, tackle and cover guy and slot corner. Good evening, ma'am. That's what he described with that's important to the defense. He just described Darren Woodson. And he described that Darren Woodson and that Charles Woodson that played in Green Bay. A safety that can come down, cover a guy like a corner, cover a tight end, bring him down the box, backside corner, play the run support like a linebacker. That's what's going on, Tutu. That's what Coach Parker described in a nickel corner. He described Charles Woodson. Dan Woodson. And we've got to have interchangeable safeties. We need 3 guys. And now I know a lot of people like to talk about corners. Corners are important. I'm not discrediting corners. I'm not discrediting corners. I've always told you players that can dominate a game in multiple ways are more important on the football field. Now, do they money get equated to that? No. Let me give you an example. Safeties can dominate in the run game as well as the pass game. A lot of people don't like tight ends. Tight ends can dominate in the pass game and the run game. Because they blocking is crucial in the run game. They can even pass block tight ends, defensive ends. They can block defensive ends. They can pull the block. They can catch that touchdown passes. They can catch they're multiple. Fullbacks are multiple. They can run the ball. They can catch the ball. They're ultimately great blockers. Multiple guys. As a defensive coordinator, where I cut my teeth in, if you're a defensive coordinator, you can talk about we don't like, we can discredit tight ends, we can discredit fullbacks. Defensive coordinators do not like defending teams that got multiple players like fullbacks that they put them in a lot of different positions to do a lot of different things, and tight ends that can do multiple things. It kills defenses because one is a bad matchup. You go too small, they dominate them in the blocking game. You go too big, they dominate them with the feet. Those 2 positions. On defense, safeties are those guys. From time to time, safeties gonna guard people. They're gonna guard tight ends. They're gonna guard receivers. Same as what you talking about your nickel corner. You want your nickel corner to be just a little bit better in the pass tech position, but your nickel corner have to be physical enough and aggressive enough to play backside run support. And guess what? Why do I say safeties and nickel cornerbacks would flourish in a 3-4 defense? Because there's no dedicated blockers to them. All blockers you come in there to clean them up, or for them to misread, or for them to wait on blockers to get there. But if they attack, you got the only people who can block them is receivers, sometimes tight ends. On the run, on the move. And you ask any defensive back, as they grow up and when you teach defensive backs, one thing you teach defensive backs, receivers should never block you. They're prima donnas. You're a defensive player. They should never block you. And when they try to block you, you should punish them. Because you don't get a chance to hit them when you cover them. But if they try to come and block you, that's when you punish them. So the key to this defense, yes, our linebackers is important, but it's our safety and our nickel cornerback play. Because what we're going to try to do is offer these cornerbacks one reason. We're going to take corners on the outside. We want you to cover and sometimes keep it contained. We're going to be able to control the other things with the four, what we call four small people, linebackers and two safeties. We just want you to cover outside. That's your main job. We're going to do coverage underneath you, all that, but we want you to cover. But the playmakers are going to come from basically your safeties. Your nickel corner is going to be, because your nickel corner is going to be a hybrid of corner / safety. What is he going to also add to you when you can get him as corner / safety, sometimes coming down the box? He can add speed to your defense. Hybrid guys are dominant in football because they can affect the game in 2 or 3 different ways. What did Coach Parker say he want with these guys? He said, one, he wants guys that's instinctive, that's instinctive to do what they need to do. That's great. But I would add one other thing he needs on this defense. Now, this is just Coach Marv talking, and I guarantee you it's going to come up when the draft time comes, and it's going to come up when they start talking about putting players together. Good evening, brother. Know what the thing's going to come up with this defense? He's going to want speed on that back end because they're slow. And he's going to want aggression. Now, some people say, well, I've heard somebody say, well, you know, and I want to address this. Some people say, and I know I'm going to disagree with some people. Some people say, forget all the picks and let's go get let's do a bunch of trade and free agents. That really doesn't work at all. There's pieces you can find free agency that I consider glue pieces. But defensive players are guys that they're getting rid of, or guys that is out there, got hiccups. And I know you say, well, you know, and I did my last show I told you that, hey, the 3 secondaries that won the Super Bowl in the last 2 years, 2 of them had, well, Kansas City 3 years ago had multiple rookies in their getting multiple times. I think 3 or 4 rookies. Yeah. The next year, Philadelphia had 2 rookies getting major time and making plays. And then come last year, Seattle had a rookie that they drafted in the 3rd round from South Carolina that turned out to be almost be the defensive player, the rookie of the defensive rookie player of the year, and was credited for doing some great things for Seattle. And he was a what we call a hybrid. When they did the bio about him, they talked about how he can cover, how he can come down the box and play the run, and how he can decipher things. And Seattle ran multiple, so when they had 3 safeties. Some people call them 3 corner, a nickel corner and 2 safety, but they were always interchangeable. If you got 2 interchangeable safeties and your slot corner is closely mirrored to those safeties, you got 3 safeties that can do a lot. That's where your dominance is gonna come in, people. And I guarantee you, it's gonna be an emphasis on Coach Parker defense, not just the slot corner. Those 2 safeties are going to be a big emphasis to his defense because those guys are going to make the linebackers look good. Those guys are going to make the cornerbacks look good. If we take those as a second thought, this defense will fail. Now, I don't go. Everybody talking about they want Max Crosby. I'm gonna give you my opinion, and I know people gonna probably shoot me down because I wouldn't trade no picks for Max Crosby. Some people talking about giving 2 first-round picks for him or giving a first-round picks for him. No, you want to upgrade your defense, your team with younger players that's going to be stars. And there's no guarantee you draft a guy in the first round that he's going to be a star. The chances are a little less than if you draft somebody in the 3rd and 4th round, but I mean a little bit greater, but there's no guarantee. But I'll put trust in that. Why would you go and trade Michael Parsons to get the picks and then pick up 2 guys that are older than he is and give the picks away? That don't earthly make sense to me. Because you chasing Cosby, like pass rush is the total all. And I'm not doubting Cosby can't play, but you got to show you want to be in the 3-4. So he looking for guys that's gonna drop, blitz, and do other things. Yes, Cosby probably could do that, but he's dictating what he's gonna do 90% of the time. I would move him down in the 5 technique, which he probably could play that, but he over 30. He doesn't have some type of not no one name, but he done had some knee problems. Ain't no bad knee problems because he done missed some playing time. I wouldn't give up out of Quentin. You already gave 1 pick with Quentin Williams. Now you're gonna give up another to get 2 guys older than the guy you got rid of, and probably gonna cost us just as much. Together, when you talking about a more. So where did you might well stay? You might well stay where you was at. Do I think we can take 2 first-round draft picks and get 2 guys to be a very good impact on this team? Yes, I do. What I've always told you, somewhere down the line, we can't say we love this coaching staff. We love this guy. We like this guy that they picked up. We like this guy that picked up on the coach staff. And then we say we got to give them a ready-made team. Because that ain't how the teams win Super Bowls. They're getting guys, but they're getting guys that was on those rosters to move to another level. Yeah. The guys they're bringing in are not the dominant guys. They're the guys that's adding on. So I want to show you some posters I made on Twitter. And as you're gonna see, make some and if you see in the middle of this page, this is the t-shirt that we're gonna come out with. This is the print of the t-shirt. No, that's my logo, Coach Marv, Real Talk. Coach Marv Real Talk is my logo. But the defense is a weapon in Dallas is the t-shirts that we're gonna start printing out that we're gonna sell. This is the mantra that we're trying to push in the Dallas world. Dallas Cowboys got to believe that our fan base got to believe this, that we're gonna get to this level. Our Coach Parker and the defensive staff and players have to believe that defense is a weapon in Dallas. When they talk about weapons, defense can replace. We can listen, and I'm gonna say this, and I know this is gonna be controversial. If your defense become a weapon, you don't need a George Pickens because you're gonna need efficient offense, not offense that's gonna score 40 points. And it's gonna make your offense look even more explosive. So I had some posts that I put out there. Um, and that's where defense is where you see I'm trying to really push this commitment, right? This commitment to defense, not commitment to defense where we going out here and trying to buy free agency. We got the foundation for a good defense. I'm putting it for commitment of working and having the mentality that you're going to be a dominating defense. You can't buy nothing in football. I hate to say that. You can't buy, you can talk about, I hear people talking about so and so team invested. What team invested so much that they won a Super Bowl when they invested? People talking about the Rams. Well, the Rams got OBJ as he was released from the Cleveland. They got it for $1 million. They traded to get a pass rusher. He did okay for him, but wasn't that great. But the guys that they had on the roster did the lion's share of the work. So Philadelphia signed their own. They didn't go get a third wide receiver. They third wide receiver, they've been trying that for the longest. We be crying about third wide receiver. They don't even cry about third wide receiver. So it's a lot of things you got to be, but they put themselves together. So let's talk about some of the posts that I made in the last couple of days when I was talking about this post that I made right here when we were talking about the defense, and I wanted to make sure that we understood defense is got to be important here. And this post that I made right here when I talk about defense, I think Cowboy Nation, we must push this belief. this belief to our front office. We need to push this belief to our fan base, to our content creators, and especially to our defensive staff, all the parts of defensive staff, and their defensive players to believe in domination on defense, not just getting better. They got to be in this team, got to get to the belief that we got to win the Super Bowl and we're going as far as the defense will take us. If that's if that's the belief from day one, I have no doubt our defense will be better. Just with that belief. And if that's that belief, we're gonna be in the mix. But there's a groundswell out there that says we just want to be better. With our great offense, we'll be better. But when we start playing better teams, we're not gonna score. Our offense is not gonna dominate better teams. It's gonna be a grind. We watch football all day. We watch in the playoffs. We watch the college playoffs. We watch the real game. We watch these NFL playoffs. It's been a grind. When you get two good teams, when you get in the big games, two good teams, it's a grind. It's not this we gonna run up and down the field because we got Pickens and CD Lamb and that act like that. That's nobody can cover them. Yes, they can be covered. But we have to believe in this defense becoming a weapon. So I wanted us to get in that belief. And we get in that belief, we can do things. We need to push this narrative, this belief to the people in the front office, to our fan base, as well as the content creators out there. Let's push that we need this defense to be a weapon. A lot of people don't want that. They think you just get by with an okay defense. If you strive to have an okay defense that's just better, when they play against better teams, they're gonna get smashed. They may be a little bit okay and better against some lonely teams, but when they play against the better competition, just being okay and better gonna get them. You're gonna be in the shootout. I posted this next post. Well, for this to happen, for us to win a Super Bowl, this got to happen. This is the Cowboys winning DNA. Super Bowl winning DNA. If we think about the Cowboys in their history, they've had dominating defense, and defense has showed up in the biggest games. So if we're gonna win a Super Bowl, we have to. Back to my show, I said about DNA. DNA is who you are, and whatever you're successful with, it's an organizational DNA out there. Most of the organizations out there they fall back into their DNA. They usually be successful. I don't care what generation it is, what year it is, how far removed it is. Most time when they come back into their DNA as an organization, they win. The New England Patriots came back into their DNA. Smart football, defense, quarterback to make time. That team looked a lot like the team that went to the Super Bowl when Tom Brady was a rookie. I mean, in his early years. Seattle brought their identity back. They went right back to what got them to a Super Bowl and supposedly had 2 Super Bowls. Strong running game, timely quarterback, great defense. That's their DNA. If you look back at Seattle when when Mike Holmgren was their coach, they had the exact same thing. That's their DNA. We have to get back to our DNA. That's with this defense having the pride to say they're going to be number one, they're going to be dominating, is what's going to take us far. Then Coach Parker had his talk. And when Coach Parker had his talk, I posted this on X. So Coach Parker had this talk, and I posted this on X. And what I posted on X was, okay, finally, we heard from DC Parker. We finally heard from him in his press conference. And I'm telling you all right now, I'm telling everybody right now, the focus will be on dominating physical, playmaking safeties, playmaking safety play with smart, physical nickel slash safeties. He told you what he wanted that nickel to do. He wanted that nickel to be hybrid, to do a whole lot of different things. Smart and physical. So if you want to think to how this to build this defense, right? Take safeties. I'm sorry, y'all. I said if you want to help this defense, I said if you want to help this defense, if you're thinking about helping this defense, think safety. Now, nickel, you thinking about hybrid guys. I think if y'all remember last year, before the year, when Jalen Ramsey was, and I'm not asking for Jalen Ramsey, but I talked about this last year when I talked about Jalen Ramsey. I said Jalen Ramsey would be a great. He wanted to play safety, but I said he would give you the best of both worlds. He would give you safety, but he would give you a cornerback with cornerback skills, but not top level cornerback skills anymore, but a good enough cornerback skills that will make people fearful of throwing the ball his way because he can make plays. And he was very instinctive. He was physical, and he had size, and he still has some speed. That what makes him so valuable when you put him in a hybrid position. I told you then that I felt that Jalen Ramsey could be what Charles Wilson did when he went to Green Bay. The same thing with Ronnie Lott increased his year because Ronnie Lott started the corner. When he went to safety, he went over the top with the defenses he went to because he gave you the instincts to play like a corner. Somewhere he could guard receivers because he had that instinct, but he was powerful to dominate. He could control the game in 3 or 4 different ways. That's why these nickel slash safeties and safeties are so important in a dominating 3-4 defense. Look at your 3-4 defenses. Most of your 3-4 defenses, when they dominate, they got great safety play because they are really free to roam and do whatever they want to do. And you cannot have a guard dog, which I call defensive guards. You cannot have a guard dog that's afraid to attack the intruder. You can't have guard dogs that's sitting back waiting. You can't have guard dogs that's not playing to attack. And too much last year we had either Donovan Wilson attacking when he in space he was a liability, and then when he made good hits on people, his body was every time you look around he's hurt. And Malik Hooker was just a power watcher. And you can talk, be mad about it you want, but that's what he was. And I think it's because his body has let him down. He was out for a lot of games for the foot. We got to move on from that safety room. We got to restock that safety room, and I think we could be able to restock that nickel corner. I said this. Remember in this preseason, how Will Clark, the rookie guy, free agent guy, was playing at nickel cornerback. He was making plays and hitting people. But then got into the season, that was in him. Now, some people gonna say Bland is a better nickel corner, a slot corner. But can Bland hold up on the physical area? Because if he's gonna play that slot corner, he's gonna play that nickel corner, he's gonna have to bust people. Do you want to keep him in that fire, or you just want to put him outside? I guarantee you, in this 3-4, if you got dominating safeties and we're in that 3-4, it's going to help his coverage. Now, let me finish what I was saying. Market defense, think safeties first. When I say when you think about helping this defense, I told you first day I said when you first think safeties. Think about us improving that position greatly. Interchangeable. Second, pass rushing outside linebackers. If he's going 3-4, he wants people on the outside that can pressure the quarterback. He's not looking for so much size because he's gonna have the defensive tackle, the nose, and those two linebackers really squeezing the run. Now, I mentioned some people name or numbers when I talk about those outside linebackers. Number 41, the draft pick from last year, he is built Ford, custom, whatever you want to say, for an outside linebacker position. Long arms, smaller in waist, has a little quickness, get off of the ball, plays the run well with his hands. Perfect fit for outside linebacker. Houston, I think Houston played linebacker. He was moved to defensive end when he got to college, but he came up in college at Florida as a linebacker. Perfect fit for an outside linebacker in the 3-4. And then I said Agent Zero. Now some people gonna say, no, coach, Agent Zero should go down inside. If I see outside linebacker written all over Agent Zero, Mario Ocean. One, he likes to attack. He plays better when he's going forward, outside linebacker. Two, he's been having problems with knees that keeps him out the traffic of all kind of crazy stuff in that middle, which will give him better because then you can sub him here and there, and you would be able to keep him healthy with him at an ultimate level and be healthy. Three, he was a great pass rusher when a very good pass rusher when he was at what? Texas. Is he gonna be Michael Parsons? No. But if Michael Parsons was here, that's where I would say he would be at. Dante Fowler Jr. played linebacker coming out of college. He can't play with his hand off the ground. Same thing. Those guys gonna give you because you're not looking where they're going to be attacking. What name? This is where the defense pops the 3-4. Where is the most important another important position in the 3-4? Everybody wants to talk about is nose guard. Is your 5 techniques, your tackles. Your guys is gonna be lined up either 3-eye over the guard, outside shoulder guard, or they're gonna be lined head up on the tackle. Those 5 techniques, they are the ones that's gonna keep people off. Because if you try to double team the nose, and if those guys are dominant, you can't. It's hard to double team them. And you double team the nose, and you leave those guys 1-on-1, they're gonna dominate the scene. They're gonna make it easier for the outside linebackers, and they're gonna make it easier for that linebacker on that side. I think we really have that wrapped up. I think Osa would be a great one. Clowney in that rotation would be a great one. I think and Quinn Williams in that position would be great. I think we can rotate Clark and even the big guy that we had last year for the nose guard position. I think that is going to be great because when we get into rush downs, we ain't worried about that. We're going to make people come out of that. But I think what Agent Zero, I I don't like. I would love him at outside linebacker. If they move to outside linebacker, remember who told you that first? But 41 is going to be a definite, dominant outside linebacker. Let's look at the last post, one of the last posters I put. So I talked about that the other day with defensive being a weapon and how much I like the 3-4. I like the 3-4 because I think we got the personnel. And you can see what he talked about, Coach Parker talked about in the press conference. He talked about defensive line play win the game, but he feels that our defensive line play with the rotation, the people we got, is very strong. And I do as well. Then I talked about this. I say defense position changes. I think some of these are gonna come about. I think Agent Zero is gonna go to outside linebacker. Nah, maybe not. But I think him playing forward, moving forward, going after the quarterback, coming forward with his aggressiveness is more suited than him sitting there in the middle. Too much traffic for him anyway, because one, he's got a long, slender, wiry, strong build. I think he'll be a great outside linebacker. Second change, I said that Mr. Revel, the drafted cornerback we had last year, when he got drafted, I need to go back in Twitter. Because when he got drafted, I said back then, by looking at his film and looking at him, that he would be a great safety if he was physical enough. And I thought he was physical, and I thought with him near and his size, I thought he'd be a great safety. I still think he'll be a great safety. I still think he'll be a great safety. And he would make a lot more impact. The other position change, I say, well, Clowney, if you're in the 3-4, we no longer going to have him out on the defensive end, out on the wide nine rushing. He's going to be on that defensive tackle, on either head up with the offensive tackle or 3-eye or head up with the guard. And Clowney has played that position on multiple occasions, and he's dominant because how strong he plays with his hands. There's very hard to, when you play the 3-4 and you play it right, you always got a 5-man rush. You always have a 5-man rush. And with a 5-man rush, what did Coach Parker talk about? Winning one-on-ones. There is no double teaming. Very few double teams. We got 5. If you go to double team someone, you're going to bring a receiver or a running back to go in there to block, which is going to take somebody out of the passing game. But I saw these 3 moves being that I think that may be done. So I see some people, probably a lot of comments. My honey, she was the only one putting it in comments. Okay. But those are the changes I see. That's the mentality we got to go with. This is not going to be ball. It's got to be the mentality, and we got to focus on these positions. Safety's going to have to. They bring the attitude, the adjustments, the everything that you need from the back end. They are the generals. When people look at a defense, they look at it from that point down when they're looking at their secondary. And you got dogs at those and interchangeable dogs at that position. It would put this defense in a whole nother level. Your defense ain't never been in the top of number 1 without a great safety. I go back to Quinn first year. I think Quinn first year was a masterful performance. And that's why I know we can do it this year here. They went from butt naked last to 12th. They was in the top 10 in scoring defense. See, this is why I want y'all to say, we can't just talk about the defense and say, oh, if the defense get better, we got to go. Coming into that year, with Quinn's first year, the defense was so bad, we just said, did the defense do better? We got football. We got the offense. We had Amari Cooper. We had CeeDee Lamb, Schultz, Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott. The defense came and did better. Our offense failed. So that's what I'm kind of to tell us. Just be aware of that. Let's talk about totality of the team. That was a good defense that year. And I don't think they did it with they didn't go out and buy a bunch of free agents. They got guys that they got their level up. I don't think we need any other defensive tackle. We got guys that can pay. If we play a 3-4, we got guys that can pay 5-out tackle. Let's talk about it. We got Clark. You put him in a 5-out tackle, he's not getting double teamed. You got Ota. You got Quentin Williams. Now, if you go, and that's what Clowney would be brought back. He would not be brought as a defensive end out there. That's 4. We forget about the guy that when he did get time, he played okay. The guy that we got in the USFL last year, that's 5. He said this. Parker feels that you got a good defensive line. When you talk about the depth of our defensive line, I bet it's better than Philly. When you talk about depth, but you have no safeties right now that's in the room that said that I think that I dominate. That's what we don't. I got corners in Butler, and that's going to become. He should be totally healthy now. He had a whole year out. Yes, we got Bland would play better, and then you got what? You still got Revel, so you got pieces you could work with there. Not they saying we won't draft a corner, but you got to dominate the safety game. And your nickel corner is just going to be listen, he could be a safety that can play nickel. He said that in his conference. He wants those guys that are changeable, but we need size at the safety position. And that nickel corner. I don't want Smurfs. I want some size there. So again, the places it's not that it's going to be ready made. It's just about work. But it goes back to what I said. It is, and I know y'all get tired of Coach saying about mentality, but man, mentality is the framework of everything we do in our lives. If your mind is not right, your mind is not focused. I don't care your work life, your relationship, your football team, your business relationship, even your friendships out there. If your mind is not focused on what you're doing and your mind is not in the right spot, guess what? Most times you're not going to be successful. And we can't go in as a coaches, not a coaches, as a fan base, just hoping for our defense to be better. Because better is better on the bad teams. Against the good teams, better is going to get your butt wiped out. So we have to, and I'm the only one preaching, but I know Coach Parker. I ain't gonna say I know him. I think highly of the young man. I think the young man's got a lot to learn, but I like what I see. I like his enthusiasm. He's a defensive back guy. He understands how dominating the safety and the nickel corner play has to be for his defense to work. So I know he's going to address it. And they want you to talk about Caleb Downs, not Caleb Downs, about Crosby. And the Cowboys have historically been like this. They may have given you some messages of where they want to go, but usually they keep that when they do something, they ain't gonna let you know too much before they do it. If it's a story out there that they're leaking for all this stuff, I personally I think it's a snowball chance in hell that we're gonna trade for Max Crosby. For one, I don't think we're gonna give the Raiders no 2 first-round draft picks, and I think trading Pickens. Now I know I'm going to get into some some roads that nobody want to go. Pickens is not worth it. I've heard people say that Pickens it could be the one of the greatest best wide receiver in the game. I'm telling you, if you watch film on Pickens route running, Pickens is yelling for all the technique things. And then this is not no shooting down the Pickens or discredit. It's the facts. The technique things have caused him not to be consistent over the years. And one of the things, if you want to say, if you're going to be great in this league or be one of the top echelons in this league, consistency is key. I can't say a guy has been in this league, and I'm being honest. And I'm not the only one going to ask these same questions. Y'all, a lot of y'all think that this the Cowboys asking questions. Every team in the league that got a GM worth something is asking these same questions before they donate major capital to them. They're gonna say, "This is your first year, your second year over 1,000, first year over 1,000 yards, very much. This is your biggest touchdown year, and you played with probably the second best playing quarterback in this league last year. You don't have stats like that nowhere else. Could we say that Dak is a real source of your play? Could we say that George Pickens gonna want to go to who is the quarterback in Las Vegas Raiders? I don't know who he is. Oh, you talking about the guy that threw all the interceptions? Do we think if he goes there, he's gonna put up numbers like he put in Dallas? Because conversely, he would put up bigger numbers than he put up in Pittsburgh because of what quarterback he was. But a lot of that came because there was some happened. It could be his fault, their fault, anybody's fault. But let's not over magnify like this was 2,000 yards, 30 touchdown year. And I will say it, and I'm gonna say it till I mean it. Y'all should understand this. If CeeDee Lamb don't miss 5 games and he plays all the games, he does not catch for 1,400 yards. And the offense probably still is number one. So where are we getting that he's the best, potentially could be the best wide receiver? Come on, man. If you were watching Pickens on film and he wasn't with the Cowboys, you'll be calling flaws. But now we say, come on, man. What are we doing here? I'm not saying I don't want him back. I'm not saying he's not a great wide receiver. He's not a good wide receiver. He's not better than CeeDee Lamb. Because I cannot go on that. Because the biggest point of being great is consistency. We have seen, and I'm not saying it, but it's the truth. We have seen players have flash in the pan years. And then all of a sudden they fall off the board. And if I was any other team and I was investing in Pickens and I wasn't the Cowboys, what makes me say that when I get him in my team's uniform, without a quarterback like Dak Prescott, because most of the better teams that have big wide receivers not going to pay $30 million for a quarterback. I mean, for a receiver. If they already got a mega receiver. What makes me say, as an owner out there, that I'm going to invest? When you think I would ask the questions, do you think that wouldn't be a question I would ask you about what happened in Pittsburgh? Nobody out there, all of the naysayers of people out there, we're giving so much credit to Pickens. And yes, he should deserve some. but Dak deserves a lot of that too. Because if Pickens was playing with Tom Brady and he went from when he was playing and Tom Brady was his quarterback this year, I guarantee you y'all won't be talking about Pickens to get $30 million. But y'all be saying Tom Brady made it. But since it's Dak Prescott, it's all the receiver. Nowhere close he had a year like this. He had 7 touchdowns coming in this year out of 3 years. He caught 9 this year by himself. Now he has had some great games. Yeah, because I'm talking about him being on my fantasy. He done had some games when he had 200 yards. That was the year he had 900 yards. He had some games he had 200 yards. I think he had 200-yard games in the year. So just imagine, you have 900 yards, you got 2 games with 200 yards. What happened in the rest of the damn? I say it again. Great talent, but is it consistent? I say this again. When you pay this, if we hadn't seen this for real, when you pay it, whatever it is, guess what? The warranty says as is. So they tell you, yeah, but you just can't evaluate and say, oh, he had 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, and that's what I'm evaluating on. We watched games last year at the watch party. People talked about saying, man, he don't get no separation. But let's look at some of the yards he got. I'm not saying Pickens is not a good receiver, but Dak put him in outstanding situations to do what he do. But we're not gonna get a credit to Dak because Dak is we don't supposed to give Dak credit. That's how we have got programmed. So we talk about trading him. It's hard to trade a guy on salary cap. Listen, teams don't do sign trades because when you sign a guy and you trade him, you still hold a cap hit. So you got to trade a guy on a 1 year on his last year deal. So you get now you could trade him because he's on the franchise tag that 1 year deal. That's what a lot of people are talking about. Trade him because he's on that franchise tag. But let me ask you this question: how many times did that happen? Now maybe 1 or 2 times. Very rarely, if any. I go back to say it again, and I will say this, and I guess I'm talking till I get blue in the face. I would let Pickens, I would negotiate with Pickens, I would have a number, I would have great communication with him about the Cowboys fans, Cowboy over in the office. I would say, we want you here. We're not going to franchise tag you because we want you to have your right to find where you really want to go. But give us the opportunity if you get an offer for us to match. And if it's an offer that is outrageous that we can't match, fine, we good. I think very hard that because when teams go out here to say they're gonna pay a $30 million wide receiver, you think the Cowboys are nitpicking, talking about what they see. Let me give y'all a little word of advice. Everybody else that talk about giving him that money, y'all talk about not letting him turn free agency. All them gonna ask those same damn questions y'all talking about people throwing mud at him. Guarantee you that. Because they're gonna lock him in for multiple years. And if they got any salt, they want to know what happened in Pittsburgh. Because 1 year removed don't change everything. What happens if you get into my organization and you're frustrated with the quarterbacks? What if we don't have a quarterback as the leader of Dak Prescott? What if we don't have a guy on the other side as the quality of CeeDee Lamb? think you do then? All those questions. When you talk about saying, okay, he's gonna be a $30 million receiver, somebody's gonna give him some money. It ain't got nothing to do with 1,400 yard catching and 9 touchdowns. Because we understand when you talking about him going someplace else to be a number one wide receiver, it's a whole lot more pressure than just putting up a couple of stats and saying we catching the pass. No. And I asked the question. That's why I said the market may surprise you about what's out there for him. And it may be easier, your deal that you shot out there, and now you can't go out there and say, I don't say the Cowboys go out and say, hey, we want you for $15 million or $12 million. Now that's insult. But if they give a nice offer, shorter term deal with him, hey, they may find out that their offer might be the big offer. Because the only thing that's driving Pickett's value up is us as Cowboy fans and the media. Because they want us to, because it's soap opera material. But everybody else is going to say, if we're going to pay $35 million or $30 million for a guy that had Pro Bowl numbers 1 year out of 5, where we do that at? So let him go and race. But listen, and if he wants to be in Dallas, I understand his agent understands Dallas. He understands who he playing with quarterback with. He understands how much money you can make in Dallas. He understands if he's in Dallas, the lucrative, and he understands how his client love the players he playing with. There's nothing wrong with letting him give a damn phrase. But you got the Cowboys, you got to negotiate with him and put a number out there. You ain't got to put anybody, but and say if you get a number out there, let us have a chance to match. Because it might be that number you get out there might be still in our range to say, hey, let's do this then. But let somebody else predict the market. We predicting the market without the market being predicted. The market's only predicted when you have competition. We got people out there predicting what a player gonna play without competition. There is no bidders. And then the people that say bid is innuendo. Another thing when you talk about trading Jordan Pickens, you can't trade him to anybody on the franchise tag. Well, you said, Coach, he can trade him because he gets the contract. First, he got to sign it. If you put him on a tag, then he got to sign it. Yes, he still got to sign it. Most players go ahead and sign it after you put them on there because they want to guarantee that big money. If you don't, if the club can rescind the tag before you sign it, then you'll be stuck out there with nothing, trying to find a contract. So they usually sign it. Okay, if you trade him with a 1 year deal, if I'm the trading team and I'm trading my assets for me to get George Pickens. Guess what? One, George Pickens, we got to have the deal already in place. Yeah, we got to be talking to his agent, have a deal in place. I'm not going to trade for him and bring him in and start negotiating. Michael Parsons' deal was done before the trade was handed in. Yes. Why? Why would you think that is, people? Anybody in contact to say with Michael Parsons, before Michael Parsons was traded, that the deal was already before they finalized the trade, that it was something already in place for his contract with Green Bay? Who don't think that would happen before that? Because what if Green Bay gets 2 first-round picks, and then you bring him in there, you ain't got no read on, and he said he don't want to play in Green Bay. He gonna play his last year. I go free agency. What you look like now? So you just can't trade pickers to anybody because someplace he might say, "Man, I don't want to play there." Let him go in the market. I guarantee you. There may be some teams out there that gonna throw 40 million, 35 million. It may be. But when you see that team, check who that team is. And that's going to tell you a lot about that decision. Higgins was great, but Dak is the reason why he got up to 14 and 9 touchdowns. Dak is part of that reason. But we act like we don't want to see that. If it was any other great quarterback, we'll be pointing that out. And guess what? Pickens know that. So don't be scared to put him out there in free agency. I don't let we got this thing about, well, we got to sign him. Well, hey, listen, man. Listen, we put him out there, he go out, and it's not that we're gonna lose him because he's going outside some he can go get some other offers. If he want to play here, we just make it say, hey, give us a chance out the sign, to match it. And that's the hey, if he don't give you a chance to match it, he don't want to be here from start with. So now you're gonna overpay to convince him that he wants to be here. Never do that. Because if you overpay, he make you overpay, you ain't gonna never get shit. I hate to say, you ain't gonna never get nothing from it. You're gonna get a lackluster effort. So we're in a good spot with that. Draft these players. These 2 first round, man, you got a 12th and a 20th pick. You could turn these players into some golden players. Our fan base looking for a guy you drafted. He's all pro. He's all world. He don't have to be all pro, all world. He's got to be good and fit the piece that you need. We think everybody who signed a contract, we killing. Listen, man, we killing Osa, saying Osa this and that. And there's some bad film on him. There's some bad film on Klopp. Newsflash, there's some bad film out there on Quentin Williams. But there's some very good tape on him too. And I always said Osa was better playing uh, a 5 tech anyway, playing like he played at UCLA. I just think Osa's biggest problem, and I wish I could tell you, and I've seen this on film, and I don't think it's that he's not a talented player. I don't think. See, we always try to match with money. See, this has killed us. We do like our ownership does. When we sign a person, we go as our fan base. They got us programmed. Our expectations go way overboard. Regardless of what the contract is. Only thing I say Osa has to do more than anything is when he played straight and not try to go on his own accord, he's a hell of a defensive tackle. When he starts to try to do all this run around block, all this hero ball, he looks bad. Discipline in how he plays. Then you have an outstanding Osa. But that's what I say, man. We got to work on defense. Let's recap. If this 3-4, I love it. Safeties, Outside linebacker, I think we are loaded at defensive tackle. I think we can, this rotation, these guys with their experience, their strength, their play, I think we can be dominant up there at that point. If somebody asks me, do we need another defensive tackle? If we can get one in the draft later rounds, that and it's not saying there's not no gems later rounds. But yes, I think a lot of people asking for defensive end. We still thinking in the mindset of 4-3. Now, I think Parker's going, defense coach Christian Parker's going to attack people, but if he get that safety position, right away. And that there, because again, I'm gonna say it again. The guy he described as a nickel corner was Dan Woodson. And it's crazy, man. We're looking for those type of players that Dan Woodson was doing it 30-some years ago. He was playing the slot, and when Jerry Washington might be in the slot, he was playing defensive back. He could come down, play a linebacker. He was playing safety. He could roam the top. He was just a Swiss Army knife, and he was dominant. You had to account for him, and he had speed, and he had size. Charles Woodson goes from the Raiders to Green Bay and turns into that same type of person, safety / corner, do everything, and became MVP. Ronnie Lott left San Francisco and became that do-all because he had those cornerback capabilities. Jalen Ramsey leaves Miami, goes to Pittsburgh and played multiple positions. Attitude, smart, IQ, safety, they can't play corner, can't play slot. The Cowboys was the first team to run 3 safety sets and dominate the NFL with shell coverage with safeties that dominated. Those 3 safeties. Do y'all remember them? Washington. Y'all remember what Washington did? I think Washington should have been MVP twice. Washington. And then had Thomas Everett was your pounding safety, knocking people out. And then you had Dan Woodson, which was Swiss Army knife. You don't even remember who our nickel corner was. Dan Woodson was our nickel corner and safety. So what he was describing is what teams been looking for, and Dan Woodson is the prototype 30 years ago, and he ain't in the Hall of Fame. He want a defensive back. He want probably get a safety that can be that way, and he don't even have to go nickel. You try to catch him in a study where he can bring a safety down and do certain things and still be in his base. And still play 4 over the top and 3 under by dropping one of the outside linebackers back. Hey man, you can do a lot with a 3-4, but you got to have some quality, outstanding safeties. You can't go in there with no BS like we did last year, thinking that, oh, well, you ain't got to worry about it. Safeties are not really important. Okay. Know your Cowboy history. Yes, sir. How are you, man? Got somebody in the chat here. Who is this in the chat, man? You a Spartan? Who is this person in the chat? You a Spartan, sir? Yeah, man. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on true real football. That's why it's called Coach Marv Real Talk. You ain't gonna never get into that. I listen. We wait out. Usually it swings around when the coaches come back and they start saying the same thing I've been saying. Because I understand. I understand if I'm a coach, I'm looking at it. I'm quite sure their coaches at a higher level and did longer than me. There ain't no way that they don't see it. Speed, physicality, but physicality first on this defense. We must make this defense a physical defense. I need ballers and attack dogs on that secondary level. That's how we're gonna get more turnovers, being physical. I need to increase the speed on here so we can play much faster and decrease the attitude of just being dominant, not just being okay. Do those three things and let's see how it works. Do those three things and let's see how it works. Before you start running around and get people, do those three things. Let's see how it works. Yeah, man. Northern State Spartans, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. So we gotta keep pushing, man. I need y'all help, man. I need y'all help in something. Um, two things, man. Okay, let me see. All right. Okay. All right. All right. That's it. That's it. I went to the North State, played under the great coach of Coach Willie Bailey. Matter of fact, Coach Willie Bailey just went to the North State Hall of Fame. I don't know why it took so long for Coach Bailey going to the North State Hall of Fame because he he's been Coach Willie Bailey was in the Black College Football Hall of Fame a long time ago. Um, yeah, Max Crosby not coming. And there's too much, all that we talk about. And listen, let me explain this. I'll stand on this. I have nothing against Max Crosby. I would not trade the kid and caboodle for Max Crosby. If you don't straighten out your safety position and get those two dominated, Max Crosby ain't gonna help you now. If they if our back end plays this soft, we're talking about coverage. Is it- Because I don't think our defensive line, I think for one, I think number 41 is about to make a jump pass rush wise that we're gonna be like, wow, this guy's gonna be awesome. I'm not saying Max Crosby that, but I wouldn't give a kid a booty for a guy over 30 years old. And think about we're chasing waterfalls. And I say that because uh yeah. I mean, yeah, he's been Max Crosby been the Mount Gas for 2 years. I mean, yeah. But I do you need a Max Crosby type player to win a Super Bowl? Three defenses, church. Three defenses in the last 3 years. And I think all three Super Bowl teams in the last 3 years. And I always like to go, if I go depth, I can say three. But let's go four because Kansas City won back to back, right? Last four Super Bowls. Which team had a Max Crosby or a pass rusher like Miles Garrett? Which team? Kansas City, Philadelphia, Seattle. Which had a probably a sacker, a defensive end guy that was in the top 2 or 3 in sacks out those 4 Super Bowl champions in the last 4 years. Now I didn't say that their teams didn't have sacks and the defense was good, but who had a dominant guy like that? Kansas City didn't. The Eagles had traded Reddick the year they went to the Super Bowl, and he was 11 sack guy. They traded him the year before they went to the Super Bowl. Seattle had multiple guys that could get to the quarterback. Wasn't just one guy. I'm just saying. Are we going to give up a lot of assets to get one guy where teams ain't, it would look like a shiny piece? Just saying. Yeah, let me tell you about Caleb Downs. This is what's crazy about Caleb Downs. I love Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is, he might be closer to Dan Wish than you may get. He is the prototype of what we call the new safety. Big, strong, hit, play coverage, and can play in the box. We can match him up with somebody, he ain't worried about him losing. Everybody's trying, most of our naysayers, most of our Cowboy fan base, or the naysayers want to wipe Taylor Downs off the books about he's not going to be there at 12. But then in the same instant, they say, oh, man, well, safeties don't go that high. But no, he's going to be gone. They don't want you to draft a safety. That's not a sexy pick. They want you to stay in the second round. Guess what? Before it's said and done, people, we're going to be talking about a wide receiver somewhere. What do I tell you? What? But I'm fan base. Right. They had a team. I listened to the, and I'm gonna say this again. Let me put the comment my Spartan brother put up there, and I know I'm gonna go back to your two church, but let me put up a spot when my Spartan brother put up there just a few minutes ago. Seattle had four linemen up front. They rotated. I listened to the linemen talk after the Super Bowl. They say they work well together. That's how they apply pressure. In the Super Bowl, how did the Seattle apply most of their pressure in the Super Bowl? I'll wait. Because nobody want to think they looked at the game. How much of their pressure came from in the Super Bowl? Did it come from one-on-ones? Yeah, they had some one-on-ones, but majority of their pressure, they came with what? Blitz. They can win up front, but their rotation of guys, I think we got a rotation of guys that can be dominant. I think you put Bray Clowney back and put Clowney in the right situation, 41's going to get better. Houston was okay. You put Clowney in that situation, you got Quentin Williams for a whole year. Why are we talking about we got to go get Max Crosby? If you're going to get somebody, Give me some safety to dominate. And I tell you, we can show you how the defense pop. Don't give me power washers. Watch it. Guys that come out there just say they hold the uniforms. Give me a guy, some guys that want to make plays at that position. Because every time we have had it, I ain't going back to the past. The year that Quinn had this best defense here, the safeties were all pros. They played like all pros. Kurtz and Donald Wilson. Ever since then, they've been poo-poo. And ever since the defense is slid. And they did it with less guys. The Dorrance Armstrong. Well, of course, DeMarcus Lawrence. And maybe Michael Parsons. But all the rest of the guys, So, yes, I'm not shooting Mike Rubb, but I'm not giving up no whole lot of stuff for him. No, I'm definitely not giving a player and a first round draft. Hell no. If we could take that first round draft pick and we could dominate, and that first round draft pick could be productive right now. Now, I know 3 Super Bowl teams win, and their secondary had Kansas City 3 years ago had 2 rookies starting and 2 more rookies, 5th and 6th round in the major minutes of the rotation. Brought that up to you. I ain't lying. See, the next year, I guess Philadelphia seen what Kansas City did, and they said, we ain't gonna go out and get no guys. We're gonna bring back the safety that was there before for some physicality, and we're gonna go with these 2 young guys in our safety, and we're gonna do the same thing Kansas City did the year before. And guess what? They did it. So Seattle said, this one guy, he's gonna be all defensive player, gonna be one of the catalysts of our back end, a Cam Chancellor type of guy, intimidating, plays defense, all that, and guess what? We go to the Super Bowl, get a better defense, go to the Super Bowl, and win the Super Bowl. We got 2 first-round picks in the first 20 picks, and we say some no reason, oh, well, that's not gonna work. Get rid of that. I just don't know, man. We want it ready made. We don't want to work to get it. We want to bring a whole coaching staff in here and get them a ready made team, and then we'll say, "You did a good job." You could stay, if you're gonna do all that, you could stay with your had. They just brought everything in new. But I believe they built this coaching staff based on when they say teachers, they're not talking about teachers. They built this coaching staff off guys that's gonna get the production out of players. Y'all look at teachers. I'm looking at guys that's gonna get the most out of players in the right spot. Everybody's not gonna be a Hall of Famer. Everybody's not gonna be an All Pro. I just need you to do your piece to the puzzle. Here's Seattle. Y'all hear what Seattle players are saying? Playing the right way, playing together. All I'm saying the same thing. They understood what it's a collection of the sum of the parts, not just one guy. They talk about the quarterback. They knew we could pick him up. It's the sum of the parts. And if we can get the mentality with the sum of the parts and stop chasing these waterfalls, thinking that we can buy, thinking we can have it ready made without work, this team would be better off. I just say again, the 4 Super Bowls. We want to talk about Chris Johnson. He was in the middle, but Chris ain't never. Chris was dominant. You got Quentin Williams. Paul Lobsters, yeah, well, I think he had 10 sacks 1 year. Well, Nothing that's over the top great. Hell, Clowney had almost damn 10 sacks. And he said he wasn't even ready half the year because he got in the training camp, he'll be even more ready. Two Kansas City teams. A Philadelphia team that won. They got rid of Son Reddick. Sack a year. Got rid of him. Brought the guy from that they brought in, he didn't work. They let him go the next year. They found a way, brought Graham, a collection of people, and did Sweat. Got him. Sweat didn't have a good year. And then you see what he did when he went to I don't think he had that great of a year. He went to Arizona. They got it. They got the team was the team. The collection of parts. They got to the Super Bowl. And then the next year, Seattle. Collection of line. So I mean, we see it 4 times in a row, and then we still trying to reinvent the wheel. Thank you, man. We got that. Tyrone Church. What a comment Church just made here. Church. And he kindly said that he came off the couch and it took him 2 or 3 weeks for him to get in shape because he came from off the couch. If he was in, and he said he'd rather be in training camp. If you put him in training camp, you gonna get 10 sacks from him. And then you gonna put him as a defensive tackle on a tackle where he plays the run. Now his speed and his strength in it. He's no longer a guy that can bend the corner. He's a guy that's got power and quickness from the inside. And then you put him in a rotation with Osa and all that, and you don't have to be there 30, 100 plays, and you really don't lose nothing with the rotate. What did we talk about we need Cosby for? 30 million defensive linemen we gonna get. I'm not doubting Cosby. The proof is in the pudding. This guy got 8 sacks coming off the couch. He didn't even play. If he listen, 10 sacks is easy for Clown. If that's what we talking about. But we look for a guy to get 20. We ain't never had that. We might have done where, but we ain't never had no 15, 20 sack guy. Recently. I'm gonna say that again. Recently. We didn't have that with Michael Parsons. And when we had Michael Parsons, somebody give me this crazy stat. I heard this crazy stat. And I'm gonna get off, man, but this crazy stat. They talk about Michael Parsons, somebody give this stat. It's crazy now. This is not, but this is the truth about this. It's stats that I never heard of that people key in because there's always a stat to make it look good, right? This pressure stat is one of the ones that just go crazy about with Michael Parsons. And if you watch film, and what they consider a pressure, you might say, I don't know. So pressures. Then they start making the comparison about when Michael Parsons is on the field, we are #1 defense. Okay. So why are we so bad defensively overall? That you cannot judge a defense off when a person's on the field. That don't tell you what play call. That don't say. So where you rank when the run when you're on the field? Where you rank in the pass when you're on the field? Did they run the ball to him? What is the scenarios behind that? That is a general basis. You cannot. There's so much context you have to go with that to make that sound good. But if you say that, everybody say, "Oh." So what if I said another player that was on the field, we was at a #1 defense? What if did anybody look at the stat and say what we were as a defense when Demarcus Ware was on? Demarcus Lawrence was on the field. I bet y'all don't want to talk about that. I bet you we were better. I think we got, if anybody knows what rounds we got, I know we got a 12. And listen, I want that 12 pick. And I want that 20th pick. We got 12 and 20. And I don't think we got a second round pick. I think we got a third round pick. You got enough players on this roster. If you hit on those two picks in the first round and you get a good solid player in the third round, the rest of the draft you can be trying to find because you got a very young team. Your offensive line is set. That and with that. People can talk all the crazy one. It's that. Playing one more year together, you're gonna be done. I understand what you're saying, but think about this. I'll get to when you talk about trade back. You don't even have to trade back. Okay, let's put it like this. You trade back when you looking for more players because you don't have a lot uh, of players on your roster that you feel they can play, or your older team. We're not older. You had Butler showed promise. You gonna get some out of Butler, but he was out. Rev, you cannot judge him when he came in. I think that's the same thing with Clown. He just came in at you got two corners. You got still got a Bland. Even though what you're saying, if you get Bland healthy, fine. I still think Bland did play. See, people want to say Bland played so bad because this is how we judge defensive backs. That's why we lost some defensive backs that went other players places because if a guy get a ball caught on, we start tripping like nobody can get the ball caught. Secondary, your safety positions is your weakest position. Linebacker is your second weakest position. Everything else, we defense fish. We defense a fish pool. Tight end, we may need to stock up on running back, but offensive line, defensive line, we good. And yes, so yes, if and I think we got a fourth rounder. Okay, you said about trade back and get an early second. I can see what you're talking about. Get an early second. Yeah, we trade back and get an early second in the third round. Yeah, that could be because I think we got an early second, so we get 2 seconds. And yeah, I can see that, but I think we looking for speed. Yeah, but I think those two first round draft picks, there's gonna be some very good players there, and there's gonna be some very good defense players there, especially at number 12. And I still believe in my mind Downs is gonna be there. And I think the Cowboys will draft Downs in a heartbeat. I can guarantee you Parker will want a guy like Downs. He's a secondary man. I guarantee you say, bring me that guy. And I guarantee he's knocking on and say, hey, yeah, we can get Cosby, but we got a chance to get Downs. That's what I want. I can guarantee you that. He's a defensive back guy. He wants dominant guys that can run his defensive backfield that can make plays. And y'all talking about other than that's what y'all need to be talking about. How we gonna get Downs? Or who's the next base guy after that? Yeah, I think we don't have a second. We don't have a second. Well, we got 8 picks. Okay, that's good. So we got 2 firsts and 6 other picks. And the Cowboys have been doing very good at the back end of the draft and the undrafted free agents. But our roster, when you look at our roster is deep. We got a lot of people that got a lot of playing time. And listen, most of our guys that played last year, do y'all really realize that a lot of those guys were undrafted rookies and undrafted free agents? So those guys are gonna get better. All those guys in the secondary, because Bland and Diggs that played. The rest of the guys in the secondary, and you had two old guys at safety didn't play, but the rest of the cornerbacks that played were rookies and undrafted free agents playing in their first year. And we put expectations on them like they're supposed to be dominant. With bad coaching, probably. Because your veteran guys play like garbage. But listen, I need to go back to what I need to say. I need y'all to help me with. Um, could y'all help me with this? One, I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have not subscribed to this show, I need you to go ahead and share this with someone. Share this with somebody in your talk. Give them some talk about that. We're gonna be talking about something. Second thing is, if you want to support the channel, if you hadn't done a super chat or something, but if you want to support the channel directly to me to support the channel, because we've been to move into some other areas. My 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 cash app is right here on the screen. Cash app me at PBS 222, and that will help support this channel. As I said again, we're about to go into free agency. Yeah, but I don't want. I want to draft a safety. We had been doing. We had. I want to get a safety, but I want to draft a safety. I need a dog. I need a young dog, and I need a young dog that's gonna be there for a while. And if we're doing defense, I always want to go young on defense. Defense is built with young. Offense is built with veterans. You go veterans. But I do want y'all to support the channel. I also want to let you know, coming up tomorrow, probably in the next couple of days, we're going to release a show that we're going to talk about NIL. We're going to do some NIL stuff. We're going to do some, this show is about to branch out. My show is about to branch out into other sports topics. I understand I got a lot of fan base that's associated with the Cowboys. I love you. I want y'all to come in. But I want you to understand that we can learn other stuff from other sports. And I'm not so involved into talk about the Cowboys to nauseum, and then we're talking about stuff that we hadn't talked that's not relevant. I got a chance to talk about on this thing because what? Yeah, I got a chance to talk about on this show because Coach Parker got a chance to get on the podium, and we got the chance to hear what he says. You're not gonna hear me come on the show and talk about what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones said, because I think it really doesn't mean what nothing they say. You're not going to hear me come on here talking about all these free agents that they're talking about getting, or all these trade rumors that they're talking about getting, because most of these are people who make up these trade rumors or make up these things. I understand this news, and I'm not discrediting none of my people who out there doing that. I'm just saying that's what it is. And somebody posted on my Twitter said we are just a ESPN3 gossip station. That's where it usually turn out to be. So what I'm going to do is I got a show coming out. Me and my friend, he has a show, and we're going to do a show about NIL, because me and him have been talking about it at work, and he has a show. We've been talking about the NIL and how it's affecting sports, and how that's going to bleed up into the new, as my man was saying, the new millenniums. The new millenniums is going to start coming up because the NIL is going, after a while, start affecting everybody else in our direction. Thank you so much, Jen. Come on now. Thank you so much, darling, for starting the super chats. Thank you so much. Thank you. See, she supported me, man. That's great. But the NIL is going to start moving up because it's going to take away from sports. A lot of people think money is, just like we talking about this free agency. A lot of people think that if you throw money at it, it's going to win. And money makes you better, and money is going to be with it. And I understand it's a part of it, but it ain't nothing like work and getting better and teamwork. There is nothing better than that. There is nothing better than that. And this is like when I say, and not getting in religious with you, but money ain't gonna get you into heaven. Your works and your deeds. Ain't nobody gonna ask you what your salary is about your works and your deeds. Nobody's gonna ask the Super Bowl champions about everybody's salary on that. There's some guys that contribute to the Super Bowl is not the highest paid players. Some of those guys contributed worldly, and they weren't the high paid players. They got a safety for the Seattle Seahawks over there. There's a rookie from South Carolina. He probably making dirt cheap money. But safeties that walk around here all this year and making 15, 15, 8, 10, 15 million. And people saying that they're great. But guess what? This guy got a Super Bowl ring and he was a contributor to that. So it ain't all about that. Now, yes, we do have to play our players. I'm not going saying that you're going to get the bottom bill players, whatever, but there's some work to do with it. So we just go out here and get all the free agents about that looks good on fantasy. That looks good on fantasy. But that doesn't look good when we talk about putting it together. Okay, let me see what the list is. I'm glad he put that out because I want to see. Let me see how many top 100 picks we got. Okay, here's the list. We got 2 100 picks right there. Then we got a fourth round pick. If that's correct, the 112 fourth round. Okay, so we got 2 first round picks, right? 100, and then we got one right outside of the 100 picks. Then we got a fifth round. So yeah, these right there. So if we give up these 2 picks, we actually say our draft is dead for a 30-year-old guy that's gonna maybe solve one problem, maybe. You know what we doing, man? Keep these 2 picks. I may package these 2 to move up. Listen, you got other players on this team that you may, can get something out of. These 2 picks are very important. These 2 picks can put us in a world and I'll go all defense. If you go with these 2 picks and you go linebacker, secondary guy, you go safety linebacker to me. I'm in call heavy. You go 2 defensive guys in this draft. I'm in hog heavy. Because 41 is going to be a superstar. You best believe that. Watch what I tell you. 2 defensive guys. And any free agents you pick up, let's go defense. But like I said, we're gonna be doing a show on that, on the NIL. Then we're gonna probably do a show on. I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel basketball fan, so we got some March Madness coming up. I'm just as abreast in coaching basketball. I coach basketball too, and this is abreast of coaching basketball, talking about basketball, football, and I love baseball. I'm a baseball guy too. Coaches is not different than what you talk about teaching. So it's always stuff in there. So we're going to talk about some other topics from here and there because we're going to expand this show to say real talk. Real talk is not just about Cowboys. It's real talk about Cowboys and everything else. But I want to thank you for supporting me. I want to thank for everybody who's came in this chat. Everybody I see the 24 people that's in viewing and now it's down to 20 people. All the people that's came in here that chat. Please, let's push that like button. 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 Let's comment on those things and let's share this thing. And if you hadn't subscribed, like I have in that little corner, the 3 things you need to do. And as I got in the little corner, oh, where to come? It say like, subscribe, and really enjoy. Thank you so much for what I may see you again on Saturday. When I know we'll be putting out a show on Saturday, but I will see you sometime later on this week, probably on Sunday. Again, we'll talk about some of the things. But remember, we got to have the attitude. Let's improve this safety position. Let's improve this slot corner. Let's get the Dan Woodson clone that Parker talked about. Because the person he mentioned when he talked about that third name by playing safety, being linebacker, being smart, he mentioned Dan Woodson. That's why Dan Woodson should be in the Hall of Fame. And when the Cowboys was the first team back in the 90s that implemented the three safeties. And you couldn't even name their slot corner. And they won Super Bowl. You know who the slot corner was? A safety named Dan Woodson. We will talk about the combine as well. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank y'all so much for y'all support. And as I always leave my show, remember this. There's nothing or no one that can stop God's will. Just remember that, live that, believe that. Nothing or no one that can stop God's will. Just keep on pushing, stay together. Remember, want to be second we'll always be first. Always want to be love. Love is the key to all our existence. Just keep on pushing, keep on striving. Go out and support all my other content creators, Balls Cowboy, Amp Sports, Tyrone, Lou Tates, all those guys, man. Support those big time show, Henny Moore, Landlord, West Coast, all those guys, man. Go out and support their channels. These guys are going to do everything that they can do to help the Cowboys win. We may differ on some points, but we do all want the Cowboys to win. Right? Make sure you understand that. But remember, no one or nothing can stop God's will. Until next time, peace.